Hi, my name is Duran from Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology, and in this presentation, I will talk about the elevated nutrient supply caused by an approaching Kuroshio to the southern coast of Japan, and how this is associated with near inertial waves and sub-mesoscale flows. The Kuroshio current is like an artery, and its characteristics support a large fishing industry in Japan, influence the local weather, and serve as a major carbon dioxide sink. However, the surface waters of the Kuroshio have been considered as nutrient poor, contradicting the above implication that it contributes to the dispersion of organisms. Previous studies report that the Kuroshio carries a large amount of nutrients in dark subsurface layers. However, this abundance of surface nutrients along the stream are not available unless they are injected to the sunlit surface layers through a mechanism that is still unclear. Previous study made by Nagai et al. Shows that in the Hyuga Sea, near inertial internal waves are trapped in the Kuroshio over the continental slope, and this causes a very strong turbulence, making diffusing up the subsurface nutrients to sunlit layers. However, since this study was conducted for just one transect survey, question remains of how long this enhanced turbulent diffuses nitrate flux extends farther to the downstream along the Kuroshio, and how the Kuroshio path modulations can influence on this nutrient injection. For this reason, in this study we work with two hypotheses. First is a Kuroshio as a nutrient stream, knowing that this large amount of nitrate in the subsurface layer is brought to the surface layer when the Kuroshio approaches to the coast, leading to an increase in nitrate vertical gradients over the continental slope. And the anticyclonic vorticity and geostrophical vertical shear in the Kuroshio can trap near inertial internal waves, inducing strong turbulence, therefore enhance the vertical mixing and diffusive flux of nitrate. The objectives of this study are to understand how the elevated nutrient supply is related to the model Kuroshio path transitions and how far this supply persists toward the downstream along the Kuroshio. All of this by reproducing observed near inertial waves, nitrate, and its flux over the continental slope using a numerical model. A high-resolution nested simulation coupled with an ecosystem model known as ROMS, the Regional Oceanic Modeling System. In this study, we work with a child grid, means that level 2. In order to contrast the representative states regarding the Kuroshio distance along the shore, plan views of temperature at the surface are shown from observation from the paper mentioned beforehand and the model. So the study area is the one located in the magenta box, and for the model, as is observed that during November, from mid-November, the Kuroshio, represented as the blue line of sea surface height of 0.2 meters, flows away from the coast, but at the end of the month and first days of December, it starts flowing near along the coast, reaching even latitude of 31.6 north on December 3rd, December 4th. Similar to the plan view results, model vertical sections of nitrate are shown. On November, less dense water are located at the surface layer above 50-meter depth, all the way through the section except at the last longitude where relatively dense water appears. Below these 50-meter depths, isopycnals are nearly flat, suggesting that there is no frontal structure. The high concentrations of nutrients are kept in dark layers below the 100-meter depth. On the other hand, in December, it shows very similar distribution to the in situ data. The zone of high nitrate concentration runs above the continental slope caused by tidal pinocline of the Kuroshio approaching the coast. Also, the mixed layer depth is found to be as shallow as 25-meter depth on the dense side, while it slightly deepens to 50-meter depth on the less dense side of the front, noting a deepening down to 80 meters at a longitude of 131.55. Besides that, the model chlorophyll concentration shows similar patterns to the observations, having higher concentrations on the short side of the front in December, above the continental slope. However, the model concentration overestimates the chlorophyll observations by threefold. But for the vertical diffusive flux of nitrate in December, it presents the elevated values in the tidal pinoclac with a sharp gradient of nitrate concentration formed above the continental slope, as is observed in the video. It is observed that the model along section velocity presents quite larger values than that in the observations at the east side of longitude 131.6. This is probably because model Kuroshio is not perfectly normal to the section. It is in the observations, the higher values are presented as bands at the depths of 75 and 200 meters. Also, magnitudes are relatively weaker in the model than that in the observation. There are banded negative and positive values as observed along the tilt isopycnal. At the longitude of 131.5 above the continental shelf, negative values are found for the model along the section velocity, which is probably caused by the Kuroshio velocity component appeared. For the cross-section velocity, the highest values are found on the eastern side of longitude 131.6, similar to the model plot. These values are located from the depths of 75 to 200 meter depths. In order to investigate the favorable conditions for generation of strong turbulence over the continental slope, the potential vorticity is computed. For the observation plot, large positive to the potential vorticity is observed at the depths of 50, 125, and 200 meters, with many negative bands over the continental slope at the depths of 50 meters and 200 meters, where highest values of turbulent dissipation rate are found. Although these large dissipation rates near the bottom is slightly farther offshore than the negative to the potential vorticity near the bottom, this suggests that the observed strong turbulence is not only caused by trapped near inertial waves, but also by negative potential vorticity generated in the upstream and associated submesoscale instability, such as inertial and symmetric instability. The model full 3D potential vorticity shows large amplitude of positive values in the depth range of 60 and 150 meters, with negative and zero values above the continental slope. Negative values in top 50 meters at the longitude of 131.4 looks quite similar to that of observations at a longitude of 131.55 between the depths of 40 to 75 meter depths. This negative potential vorticity generated over the sloping bottom boundary in the upstream region, as it is observed in the plan view of the potential vorticity near the coast, can be the reason to produce enhanced turbulence through inertial and symmetric instability. The vertical shear along the section flow in December shows banded structures of positive and negative values along the tilt isopycnals of the Kuroshio front, especially near the mixed layer depth with large shear amplitudes. This shear banding along density surface is suggestive of propagating near inertial internal waves, which can be trapped within the Kuroshio by its large anticyclonic vorticity and geostrophic vertical shear. So, when the molecule shear approaches to the coast in December, the internal wave kinetic energy increases, being observed broadly 55 kilometers along the Kuroshio axis until the northwestern edge of the lower minimum frequency region band. This narrow band of high internal wave kinetic energy coincides with a narrow band of lower minimum frequency confined in a thin layer closer to the coast, suggesting that these internal waves are near their minimum frequencies and get trapped in the region with lower minimum frequencies. To be sure if these are near inertial waves, we determine the wave frequency in the strong current, avoiding the Doppler shift, which can affect the frequency's measurements. Lagrangian particles are used to obtain the Lagrangian frequency spectra for the non-geostrophic shear. The maximum peaks for the mid-zonal and meridional shear spectra appear between the inertial and its double frequency, suggesting that non-geostrophic shear in the model is mostly associated with near inertial waves. Because of the strong anticyclonic vorticity fields, the minimum frequency of the internal waves can be modified, decreasing the lower frequency bound of them. Due to this, the waves with lowest frequency can propagate freely to where the lowest frequency is lower than that of the original region, but they cannot propagate into higher, lowest internal wave frequency regions, like a wall, staying inside the anticyclonic warm core eddy, getting trapped within it. And to clarify how far the elevated nitrodiffusive flux persists along the Kuroshio toward the downstream region, the plan view of the nitrate flux is also shown. The elevated nitrate flux is found and persists toward the downstream around 100 kilometers. This streak of extreme large diffusive flux is found to coincide with the location of the negative potential vorticity values that have been shown previously, extending farther downstream related to the high internal wave kinetic energy. Averaging the variables at 100-meter depth near the coast, it is observed that the nitrate concentration has an increasing trend from December. Note that this increase cannot simply be attributed to the seasonal mixed layer deepening because the mixed layer in this region is shallower than 100-meter depth as it has been observed in the vertical plots. So the question is, what provides the larger nitrate vertical gradient in diffusive flux? The disturbances produced through the bump of the model Kuroshio, including internally waves, are presumed to induce inertial oscillation. Then the near inertial internal waves can propagate in the stratified layers above and below. It should be noted that the positive but low potential vorticity values generated over the slope of the bump correspond to the lower minimum internal wave frequency. So in those regions with low potential vorticity, trapping near inertial internal waves is expected. So to investigate the cause of the large nitrate vertical gradient and diffusive flux during the model December, the relation with the minimum distance between the Kuroshio to the coast is shown. It should be noted that the very short distances are also observed at the beginning of November, but only up to latitude 31.7. However, during this time in the northern latitude, the minimum distance is much larger, with more than 140 kilometers at latitude 32.2. In this period of time, the model Kuroshio initially flows into northward, but immediately turns its direction to the east. On the other hand, in December, the distance presents the shortest distance until latitude 30.3 north, reaching the 100 kilometers distance at most. In conclusion, when the model Kuroshio current approaches the most to the eastern coast of Kyushu, there is an intrusion of subsurface nutrients to the surface layer, leading to a higher potential of its diffusive flux. That's because when the model Kuroshio flows closer to the coast, it hits the small bump in the upstream region of the Hyuga Nada Sea, producing negative potential vorticity and associated inertial and symmetric stability, and traps near inertial internal waves in a strict lowest internal wave frequency, elevating the internal wave energy and mixing. This elevated nitrate flux extends up to 100 kilometers farther downstream in the model. The results of this study can improve our understanding of the role of the crucio in providing nutrients and enhancing biological productions, therefore contributing to the diaphragm of carbon's uptake by the ocean along the crucio to the downstream regions. Thank you so much for your attention.